This is KUGAN CASSIUS for IFL TV in association with MTK Global. Delighted to be joined by the president of MTK Global, Mr. Bob YALEN. Have I pronounced your surname correctly?
Yes, you have, KUGAN, and a pleasure to be here working with such a professional.
Absolutely, absolutely. I wouldn't call me a professional, but you know.
Well, an esteemed amateur. How about that?
There we go, there we go, there we go. Right, Bob, before we talk MTK business, we were both in LA over last weekend. You were ringside, sir, to witness a fascinating heavyweight contest between Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury, and fascinating for many reasons. We'll come on to that famous 12th round in a little while, but Tyson Fury, having been out the ring for so long, so many problems outside of the ring, coming back against two lesser opponents, should we call them, going in against Deontay Wilder. A lot of people expected him to be, as we would use the term, ironed out early on. It didn't happen.
Nope.
But it's really kind of been a story for Tyson Fury to get to that point in general, let alone kind of what transpired in that fight. Would you agree?
Absolutely. It is just a brilliant comeback. I mean, for somebody to be out of the ring for the reasons that he was out of the ring, battling substance abuse, depression, any number of things, to look, honestly, ordinary in his two comeback fights, and to come back and fight as brilliantly as he did against the man that everyone considers the most destructive puncher in the heavyweight division, even with a draw, you can't label it as anything other than brilliant. You know, I thought Tyson won. Tyson has no other reason than to walk out of the ring with his head held high and still consider himself the lineal champion. It's a shame he's not wearing the belts, because he absolutely deserves the belts.
Let's talk about that 12th round. So, I mean, the majority of people that I've spoken to were there and watching at home had Tyson winning the fight. There was already one knockdown in favour of Deontay Wilder previously. So the 12th round approached, and the common consensus was that Wilder has to knock Fury out, which he did. To be fair to Wilder, he did knock him out. But obviously, then what transpired halfway through the 12th round was Tyson Fury, to everyone's shock and whatever else, starts to make the count after 5-6 seconds, and he's up on his feet, and not only that, he goes on to dominate the rest of the round.
Correct.
What was going on through your head?
After the 11th round, I had Tyson up 8-3. People around, same rough thing. I was looking at websites. Everyone had it 8-3, 9-2. Well, way up. Beseeching Tyson, don't go near him. The only thing I was worried about was, I know who the Mexican judge is, and Alejandro's a very good judge, but I know Alejandro looked for aggression. So I was like, maybe at worst case, it's going to be a split decision, 2-1 in Tyson's favor. But it's like, Tyson, don't go near him. Box at a distance. They come out, bang, gets cracked. And with the shot, the first thing that I equated it to was Ernie Shavers just pulverizing Larry Holmes in the 7th round of their heavyweight title fight. Never in a million years did I expect Larry Holmes to get up. Never in a million years did I expect Tyson to get up, because it was just a shot. Holmes got up and Tyson got up. And not only did Tyson get up, but Tyson gets up and then, as you said, wins the rest of the round. You can't, I'm not sure exactly how to describe it, but just the character that requires, just the chin that requires, the wherewithal to come back after something like that is astounding. You know, and all credit to Tyson for being able to put it together the way he did. And not to make it too long, but it's the one thing I'm very adamant about with judging, was too many judges look at a knockdown as an automatic 10-8 round. You can knock down a guy, great. You can start from the viewpoint of, okay, it's 10-8. But even with the first knockdown, Tyson won at least 2 minutes of the rest of both rounds. So there's no reason not to give him a 10-8. You know, granted, maybe he cannot win the round. But to put him 2 rounds down where he literally won the round except for one punch. And I'm not just making a case just for Tyson. Anytime that occurs, but especially with Tyson, because literally not only was Wilder completely stunned, if you saw the look on his face, Wilder could not believe Tyson getting up from the punch.
He was celebrating.
Exactly.
Rightly so as well. Rightly so.
Absolutely. Again, never in a million years thought he was getting up. But to get up and then win the rest of the round, you got to give him some type of credit for that. And any fighter deserves credit for that, especially to win that much of the round. Granted, if you win a minute of the round, okay, I get it, 10-8. But you win 2 minutes of the round, literally 2/3 of an entire round, to be penalized, put you down 2 rounds because of that I don't like. So for me, Tyson won the fight.
So when it was announced as a split decision, we kind of feared the worst in a way. I suppose the worst being Wilder getting the nod over a fight that many people believe that Tyson won, but it was given the majority draw, and ironically it was the British judge that scored it a draw. But Tyson still got the accolades, mainly due to the fact that he came up from that 12th round and the fact of really where his journey was at that point a year before, 3 years before, since the Klitschko win. So all credit to Tyson Fury for that. But what happens now? Is there a rematch in your opinion? Do they target Anthony Joshua, either of them? What happens?
There's so many pluses for almost everybody in the game right now, the way it works out. Public would love to see a rematch. Deontay, not sure. Wilder looks at Fury now, says, boy, not sure I want part of that, but Fury's stock is through the roof. So the dollars and cents, the pounds and euros that now come around for a Joshua Fury fight are astronomical. Wilder's stock goes down, so now he has to look at, and Joshua now looks at Wilder and says, this is much more easier pickings than I thought. And granted, I'm sure Anthony going in thinks I'm going to beat him anyway. Now he must look at him and say, this is the guy I was worried about. So now I'm sure he would love to fight him April 13th, no doubt. Wilder now has to look at it as like, it may be more money for me to go after Wilder because that's what the public's demanding, but Joshua's, for the belt, that may be what I have to go after. So everybody sort of makes out. Realistically, Wilder's the biggest loser because his stock has absolutely gone down. Even in the public's eye. I mean, very, very amateurish in a lot of the rounds. And disappointingly so.
There's still a long time to April the 13th, so pretty much what goes on between now and the next 3 or 4 months is anybody's guess, because I suppose the first situation that needs to be cleared up, will there be a rematch? And if there's not, that's when it becomes interesting, because then who does Wilder go on to face? Who does Tyson Fury go on to face? So it's certainly interesting times in a much thriving heavyweight division.
For me, I give Wilder, I don't look at April 13th. I'm Wilder. I give him a confidence builder. Let him get back in. Let him feel like he's back to being the destroyer. Because, granted, he knows he hit Tyson with the Sunday punch, and to have a guy get up, it's got to play a little bit on your psyche to know that somebody actually got up from you landing the shot that nobody else has gotten up before. Am I losing my power? Who is this guy? Whatever the case may be. I have a feeling they may give him somebody just to let him take somebody out, let him get that confidence back up, and maybe point towards September.
Now, Bob, you were recently announced as the president of MTK Global. It wasn't that long ago, I think just over a year, that Sandra Vaughan was announced as the CEO of MTK Global. So talk to me about how this position came up for you.
Well, I've been in boxing basically all my life. Sometimes a little longer than I'd care to admit. And I've been working for the WBC as chairman of the ratings committee, chairman of a number of committees. And I was approached by MTK Global a couple months ago, and we discussed me coming on board as president. It was, with the reputation of MTK, it was an unbelievable opportunity. And when the vision of MTK and what they want to get involved in and the various aspects of the company were laid out to me, it became a very easy decision. It was something I absolutely wanted to be involved with, and I'm thrilled to be brought on board. Absolutely looking forward to the position.
I mean, the position kind of MTK Global finds himself in to that of 5 years ago is incredible. The stable of fighters they've got, the different territories that they have boxers in, the different countries they're putting shows in. It's just an ever-enhancing company, and it's very prominent in the sport of boxing now. A lot of
Absolutely.
The top shows that happen in the UK especially are heavily weighted with MTK fighters. Obviously,
Correct.
Tyson Furys an MTK fighter, and he was headlining a big Showtime BT Sport card over the weekend. So, and that's only going to improve.
Absolutely. I could not believe when I got to Los Angeles, the reception I received from people congratulating me on being named president, just the name recognition that MTK has. Walking around Los Angeles, especially around the fight arena, the amount of people recognize the MTK brand, the people wearing MTK clothing, it was phenomenal. It was so enlightening to see the impact that MTK is already having in the sport. And what I aim to do is, in effect, make it more, I don't want to say full service, but I want managers, promoters, boxers to know that we're here to assist them in any way, shape, or form, to help them with promotion, help them with their fighters. We want to be obviously looked at as a good guy. We want to look at as somebody that you can trust and come in and enlist our services and know that we'll be there for you.
A lot of the negative stuff that happens behind the scenes kind of is kept behind the scenes in terms of management and within sport in general, to be honest, not specifically to boxing. And we kind of hear stuff that's not always kind of out there for people to know, but kind of being involved in the sport, you hear stories of, just
blank contracts.
Negative and things that don't really prosper the fighter, which is what really this is all about. Mm-hmm. And speaking to a lot of boxers who kind of are with MTK, it doesn't seem to be the case in the slightest with MTK. It's not the ethos here, and the fighter is always put first.
Well, I think the smartest thing that MTK has done is put in position of communication with the boxer and communication with management, whatever, a lot of ex-fighters, trainers, the people who can, they don't just walk the walk. They don't just talk the talk, they walk the walk. I mean, they know what it's like to be either in the ring as a fighter or in the ring as a trainer, so they can empathize and sympathize with what the fighter's going through. So they're not in a position, nor do they ever want to be in a position, to take advantage of the fighters we bring in. Again, the object is to assist, aid and assist, and not just once a fighter's career is over, and not just in the ring. If there's issues for a fighter outside the ring, if we can help, we'll look to help. But we also want to equip a fighter, whether it be knowledge-wise, whatever the case may be. Once he steps out of the ring for the very last time, we don't want him to think that he's abandoned. We want to give him the ammunition to continue to thrive as a person, whatever his future holds. We want to be able to assist him to become successful.
It is a big problem, and a lot of fighters that are retired from the sport kind of just pretty much go off the radar, if you like, because unless they're fortunate enough to have a career in television, punditry, which is still rare, there's not that many positions available at the highest end for that. If they become a trainer of some sort, other than that, there's not a lot really out there for boxers to kind of keep themselves within the sport. And a lot of boxers that have kind of made money find themselves in a position where, what do I do now?
Correct. And we want to be able to give them, whether it be avenues, if we can help them find jobs. No guarantees with any of it. But we just don't want to be there just to manage them as a boxer. If we can help them in any way, shape, or form, and it may only just be some advice that can help them. But if we can use connections, if we can use education, whatever we can do that makes sense for all the parties, we want to explore those opportunities. The last thing in our discussions with people that are in the company is we don't want to view the fighter as a disposable commodity or a number. The fighter is a person. Treat him with respect. Treat him as somebody, as family. He's part of the MTK family. Treat him that way.
How many years have you been in boxing, Bob?
You had to go there with that, huh? 43, 44.
What was your first job in boxing?
First job in boxing, I wrote my own when I was in high school, I wrote my own magazine.
Yeah.
And it took off from there. I started doing consulting work for ABC, then for all the networks, and just kept getting bigger and better, I would say.
So you obviously come here with kind of a massive wealth of experience in the industry.
I'd like to think so.
Well, you have. But yeah, obviously 43 years. I mean, you must have started when you was like 5 or 6.
Doing I wish. This gray hair isn't, it's not a beauty look, believe me. Yeah, the key is I love boxing. I love the fighters. I've got a number of engineering degrees, and I've played any number of sports at a high degree. Very, very proficient. But I love boxing. I love fighters. And that's why, the great thing about being in this type of position is now I'm in a position to really help fighters. It's a great feeling. If I have to end out my career that way, very happy to be able to do it.